Get through this incident without a loss of life is in part due to the swift, coordinated response of our officers, our partner agencies, mall security, and fire and EMS. As you would expect, since Friday, every available resource has been dedicated to apprehending the shooter. Our detectives have been working nonstop, following every lead, reviewing hours of surveillance footage, interviewing witnesses across 2 cities, and coordinating with multiple partner agencies. Late last night, a little more than 48 hours after the shooting, San Jose officers located and arrested the juvenile suspect at a residence in San Jose. We're grateful this wasn't an active shooter situation, but we were prepared for one. We've trained out this location with our partner agencies, and when this unfolded, every agency moved into the mall exactly as we'd practiced, ready for anything. I want to thank every San Jose police officer, as well as all of our partner agency personnel who responded on Friday and worked throughout the weekend, including the Santa Clara Police Department, the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office, the California Highway Patrol, the ATF, the FBI, the San Jose Fire Department, Valley Fair Mall Security, and EMS workers. I want to thank you for your speed, your professionalism, and your relentless follow-through. Sorting through a chaotic incident like this and tracking down a suspect who fled into a crowd of thousands is no small feat. This was an outstanding investigation led by our Gang Investigations Unit detectives to identify and apprehend the suspect. They worked closely with Santa Clara County Probation, our Ghost Unit, analysts in our Real-Time Intelligence Center who utilized automated license plate reader cameras, amongst other tools, and our Covert Response Unit. Because the suspect is a juvenile, I'm limited in what I can disclose about him, but I can talk about the reality we keep seeing over and over again. Young offenders with prior firearm arrests receiving little to no consequences, getting another gun, and escalating their violence, and that appears to be the case here. In February of this year, this suspect fled from San Jose PD gang enforcement officers and was found to have a loaded gun in his waistband. The suspect's case resulted in a deferred entry of judgment. The suspect was placed on a probation plan of sorts, which required him to, among other things, obey all laws. Earlier this year, I stood here and talked about a 13-year-old murder suspect whose potential consequences seem more appropriate for stealing a car than taking a life. Our officers have a limited ability to prevent this kind of juvenile violence when our juvenile laws are so weak that young offenders feel almost no fear of consequences. They bring guns into our malls and fire them indiscriminately. In California, our laws do not treat gun violence with meaningful consequences, and if you're a juvenile, the consequences are quite frankly almost non-existent. I'm not sure what it will take for well-intended lawmakers to wake up and realize that gun violence should never have been lumped in with nonviolent property crimes in California's efforts to reform our system. I'm not sure what tragedy will finally be the watershed moment when we fix what is clearly broken. When there are little to no meaningful consequences for committing a gun crime, we should not be surprised when more gun crimes follow. When we blur the line between lesser offenses and gun violence, we send the message that picking up a gun is just another bad decision, not a life-threatening choice that endangers an entire community. I'm grateful that our district attorney, Jeff Rosen, takes gun violence as seriously as we do, and I'm confident he will do so in this prosecution. The victims in this case deserve better. The thousands of people who ran for their lives on Friday deserve better. And the officers working these cases, day and night, deserve a system that will actually hold violent juveniles accountable before more people are hurt. To the victims and their families, we're praying for your recovery, and we will keep pushing for a justice system that prioritizes your safety at least as much as it prioritizes the future of those who choose to pick up a gun and pull the trigger. The investigation is ongoing, and we have more work to do. But let me close with this. Violence, especially gun violence committed by juvenile offenders, is not something we will normalize in this or tolerate in this city. While we wish there were stronger laws in place to protect the public, the San Jose Police Department and our partners will continue to do everything in our power to find anyone who commits violence here and bring them to justice. You cannot do this in San Jose and get away with it. Not now, not ever. Thank you. Now I'll turn it over to Mayor Matt Mahan.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I want to start by echoing the Chief's thanks to partner agencies, starting with the City of Santa Clara, County of Santa Clara, and of course the District Attorney and his team for their partnership here. I also especially want to thank our detectives who are the best in the country and worked around the clock to make sure that we could swiftly and safely apprehend the suspect and get him into custody quickly. This arrest means a lot to our city because there were not just 3 victims on Friday. There were thousands. The suspect caused bodily harm to a few victims and emotional harm to many. The videos flying around social media paint a picture of fear. Stampedes of people running through the mall and through the streets, people hiding in stores, barricaded in, scared for their lives, emergency vehicles everywhere. But they also show a story of care. I watched store employees opening their doors for those fleeing, neighbors rolling up their garage doors and helping people shelter, police officers from San Jose and Santa Clara working together to protect our families. Heck, we even saw a video, the story of heroism from someone self-identified as Mexican Spider-Man, who may have had a few facts wrong, but offered a much-needed moment of comic relief nonetheless. The bottom line is this: 100,000 people came through the mall that day, and all 100,000 eventually went home. This tragedy could have ended a whole lot differently. We are so lucky that no one lost their life at Valley Fair on Friday, and I do believe that our law enforcement officers' swift and brave response is part of the reason for that. But many people's sense of safety here in our city was lost. Our residents shouldn't have to step up to help each other in moments like this because we simply shouldn't have moments like this. Guns are not toys, and they should not be in the hands of teenagers. This is the second time a young person motivated by a gang caused violent harm in our community in this same part of town. I'm going to say again what I said back in February. I'm afraid that if we don't change the way our system holds young repeat offenders accountable, we may be providing a perverse incentive for gangs to recruit children at younger and younger ages. About 44% of gang-related incidents over the past few months were committed by young people under the age of 18, including aggravated assault, weapons charges, and robbery. We need a better way to hold young people and their accomplices, their adult accomplices in many cases, accountable, to deliver justice and to make sure they know the consequences of their actions. Because if gangs believe that initiating kids as members is a loophole, is a way to commit violence without consequences, we've created a dangerous loophole that makes our children even greater targets. In addition to enhancing penalties for those who commit or attempt murder and those who push our young people into a life of crime, we need to also double down on prevention and alternative pathways. Our San Jose Youth Empowerment Alliance, formerly known as the Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force, has shown some incredibly promising results in funding after-school programming and especially youth jobs. We need to make those investments so there's always an alternative path available. Clearly, there's still a lot of work to do. This horrible tragedy is yet another reminder that protecting our children is one of the best investments we can make in creating a safer city. I'll say just a couple of words in Spanish since we have Spanish language media here. Hoy anunciamos el arresto del sospechoso responsable del tiroteo en el centro comercial Valley Fair el Viernes Negro. Este sospechoso juvenil disparó a 3 personas y aterrorizó a miles que temían por sus vidas. Nuestros jóvenes están siendo reclutados por pandillas porque saben que los menores enfrentan menos consecuencias. Necesitamos hacer más por nuestros niños y nuestra comunidad. Gracias a la Policía de San José y Santa Clara y nuestras agencias asociadas por la rápida detención de este sospechoso. Y gracias a los empleados de tiendas y vecinos que ayudaron a quienes huían abriendo sus tiendas y hogares para mantener a la gente segura. Thank you all very much, and now I'll turn it over to our DA, Jeff Rosen.
Teenagers with guns are incredibly dangerous and must be dealt with very, very seriously with accountability. Some people object when gang shootings are called terrorism. For the people shopping and working at Valley Fair this Black Friday, this gang shooting was terrorism. For the two young women who were shot as they shopped, this was terrorism. What else should we call a mass shooting in a place decorated with festive ribbons and colored lights on one of the busiest shopping days of the year? This is a place where we bring our families and our children. But this minor brought a semi-automatic handgun with him. In a gang confrontation inside of the Valley Fair shopping mall, the minor shot 3 people less than a month before Christmas, a day after Thanksgiving. We're thankful that no one was killed, miraculously. All of us in this community are thankful for the San Jose Police Department and what it always does, every day and every night, and that's quickly track down violent criminals and safely arrest them. Yes, that is their job, but we never take it for granted. I don't. The Santa Clara Police Department, the Santa Clara County Probation Department, the Santa Clara Sheriff's Department, the FBI, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives assisted in this investigation and are also responsible for the swift apprehension of the individuals involved. As I speak, the DA's office is hard at work reviewing the evidence for this reckless and violent crime. We will be filing serious charges against at least 2 of the individuals, including the shooter, in the next 2 days. I'll have more information about those charges at the arraignment in the next 2 days. Please be assured that these defendants, including the juvenile who was on probation for carrying a concealed weapon, will be held strictly and severely accountable. And I hope as we do our work to keep our community safe, that Valley Fair will go right back to being a happy place where kids can meet Santa Claus, that the mall will return to being a special and safe place where there's caroling in the air and where the only worry will be what to put under the tree. Please, let's all have a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
How old was the suspect?
I believe he's 17, correct? 17 years old.
Can
Yes.
you explain the relationship between the 2 female victims? Were they related or random?
I don't know the relationship between the 2 of them, but my understanding is they had no relation to the intended victim.
Or each, you don't know if they had.
I don't know if
each other.
they're connected to each other. I'm sorry.
And also, DA Rosen mentioned an accomplice or a second set of charges. What's that about?
Go ahead.
There's at least one individual who assisted the shooter after the fact, essentially becoming an accessory after the fact to these charges. So there's an additional individual that will be charged with allowing and facilitating the escape of the shooter from the scene before the shooter and the individual that helped the shooter escape were apprehended by the police department. They've both been apprehended at this point.
Okay, and last question. The woman with the stroller, what is her relation? Is that the second person you're going to charge?
Yes.
It is that person?
Yes.
And what is the relationship between that woman, how old is she, and what is her relationship to the suspect?
She's 21. She's an adult, and she's I wouldn't say related by marriage, but she has a familial relationship to the shooter.
Was that his child?
No.
Just like we're clear on the charges. The shooter is being charged, the woman pushing a stroller with a baby inside is being charged, and a third person who helped the shooter escape is being charged?
At this point, we're filing charges against the shooter and against the individual, the woman pushing the stroller, that then helped the shooter escape. There may be further charges brought against other individuals that helped the shooter escape and hide from the police. But at this point, we have charges that we'll be filing against those two individuals, the woman pushing the stroller and the shooter. And those people will be charged Wednesday morning.
And how old was the baby inside the stroller?
I don't know the exact age, but certainly under 2 years old.
Can you go over the previous firearm charges the shooter had?
The shooter was arrested for carrying a loaded and concealed firearm.
When?
That was in February of this year. And question up front.
Was that the extent of the prior charges, the one you just mentioned?
To my knowledge, in that incident, yes. I'm not sure about any other prior arrests for this individual, but I'm aware of that one.
So that's as far as the SJPD is aware at this point in the investigation, that's the only prior arrest this individual has had?
That's the only one that I know of personally. I don't know his entire criminal history.
Do you have information about the origin of the gun used in the Friday shooting, ghost gun, stolen, anything along those lines?
I do not.
Was that recovered?
We have not yet recovered that gun.
How old is the male victim, and did he help identify the suspect? And did they know each other?
I don't know his age. To my understanding, they did not know each other prior to this incident. This incident was a spontaneous development between their interaction.
Are you able to expand at all on the confrontation that happened? Were these just rival gangs, or did something happen that led up to the shooting?
It seemed like it all developed awfully quickly. I don't think there could have been a whole lot of interaction between them before the shooting, so I don't have a ton of detail on exactly what was said. Part of the issue here is, in California, we'll never really be able to obtain a statement from a juvenile suspect because the law does not even allow us to seek a Miranda waiver prior to a juvenile speaking with an attorney. And so the practical effect of that law is that we never get a statement from the juvenile defendant.
But they were rival gangs.
They certainly seem to, well, the shooter certainly seemed to perceive the victim as a rival gang member to him. Yes, sir. I'll come back to you.
How are the victim families, if anybody has spoken to them or reached out to them yet?
I haven't personally. Our detectives have been working with them. However, obviously this is something tragic for everybody. The intended victim, and certainly the woman and the younger girl who were just simply shopping in the mall, had nothing to do with any confrontation and just happened to get wounded. That's not something they expected or should expect on a day of shopping.
Is everyone out of the hospital?
As far as I know, everybody's been released from the hospital. Everybody's expected, thankfully, to survive their injuries.
And can you tell us where they
Hold on. Let me move to another part of the room.
So this is the second time that something related to gangs happened at that mall. And you talk about prevention before. So what is the San Jose police doing for preventing these type of things? We know that the charges against minors are complicated, and the law is complicated. But so is there anything that the San Jose police is doing to try to prevent anything like this?
So first of all, I think you're referring to the homicide that occurred on Valentine's Day, and that was actually at a different location. It was not in Valley Fair Mall. So it's not the second event, just to be clear, not at this same location, but in the same general area. Absolutely correct. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things we do. I mean, like the mayor talked about, first of all, there's a prevention strategy through the San Jose Youth Empowerment Alliance and all the different programs that are offered to young people in this community to prevent them from becoming involved in gangs or violence in the first place. But a big part of what we do is identify violent suspects in our city and try to hold them accountable, such as we identified this person as a violent gang member armed with a firearm and we made an arrest. and that was before this crime occurred. So that's one of the ways in which we in law enforcement are also trying to prevent instances like this from occurring. We obviously can't predict everywhere that a crime is going to occur. We can't be everywhere in the city at once. But this is a safe location. That's why this crime is so outlandish. It's not something that you would expect here. This is a safe place where thousands and thousands of people go every day to do their shopping. So it's very unusual, and thankfully it's unusual. Yes, sir.
So we've heard through multiple people through our social media channels and our media outlet that the emergency exits were not working at various locations throughout the mall. My understanding is that one of you here is with Westfield or is with the security firm that is with Valley Fair Mall. I'm curious if you, the San Jose Fire Department, is investigating, because when I say we've received a lot of people saying, I work at this retailer, I work at this department store, and we had to barricade because we could not get out. So when you say we're prepared for a mass shooting scenario, are you guys investigating that? That's my first question.
Okay.
Another one after.
I am not aware of that, and maybe you could speak to that one, Sue, if you have any knowledge of anything.
No, I think what you might be referring to is SJPD asked for people to shelter in place and stay there until they came and let people out.
No, people were saying that they were trying to leave as soon as they heard the popping, and they could not because the doors would not fit.
Okay. I don't have any information about that. What was your second question?
Second question. The juvenile who is currently in custody for the shooting, has he expressed any sort of remorse for what he's done? I know you guys talked about how he had a history of doing this. I'm curious, and I think we're all curious when these types of incidents happen. Is he feeling any remorse, or is he like, well, it had to be done to prove to be?
Well, like I said, I don't know what he's feeling because we don't have any statement from him.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to clarify,
Yes.
I know among the victims there were 2 teenagers and 1 adult victim. When you talk about the suspect and the intended person he meant to shot, was that one of the teenagers or was that person the adult?
So there was an adult victim who we believe was the intended target of the shooting. There was an adult female who was a bystander and a juvenile female who was a bystander, and those 2 females were also shot, but we don't believe they were associated to the intended victim.
So he never hit his target.
No, he shot the person he intended to shoot and 2 others.
That was an adult.
Yes.
Can we hear from the Westfield representative about security doors?
I think she's
I don't think
said what she's
If you
going
want
to
to
say.
send us that inquiry, I mean, this is the first we've heard of it. So
Okay.
send it to us, who reported it, was that.
Can I get your name one more time? I'm so sorry. Westfield representative? Sue Newsom, thank you.
All right. If you have any follow-up questions, just send me an email. I have a lot of people here, and I want to make sure I'm able to get them out. I appreciate everybody coming out today. I know there's some questions that you might have. Please just email me. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me. I appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you very much.
Collaboration, yeah.
My hands are off.